I had a Chinese girlfriend who went on a trip to Greece. I had a Chinese girlfriend once, and about 2 months into our relationship she asked if she could join her friends on a trip to Greece. I said sure, do your thing. 2 weeks pass, and I'm at the airport to pick her up, when I notice something's wrong. She won't look me in the eye, she won't talk about the trip, and she even cried after sex. Even though I took a long time, I eventually figured out I'd picked up the wrong Chinese from the airport. I told this joke to another random guy I never met who's also Chinese, and he got very angry, telling me it's very racist, and it just plays on the stereotype that all Chinese look the same. I told him, come on dude, didn't we have this talk like 2 months ago? It was 1988. A couple lived near the ocean and used to walk the beach a lot. One summer they noticed a girl who was at the beach pretty much every day. She wasn't unusual, nor was the travel bag she carried, except for one thing. She would approach people who were sitting on the beach, glance around, then speak to them. Generally, the people would respond negatively and she would wander off, but occasionally someone would nod and there would be a quick exchange of money for something she carried in her bag. The couple assumed she was selling drugs and debated calling the cops, but since they didn't know for sure they just continued to watch her. After a couple of weeks the wife asked, honey, have you ever noticed that she only goes up to people with boom boxes and other electronic devices? He hadn't and said so. Then she said, tomorrow I want you to get a towel and our big radio and go lie out on the beach. Then we can find out what she's really doing. Well, the plan went off without a hitch, and the wife was almost hopping up and down with anticipation when she saw the girl talk to her husband and then leave. The man walked up the beach and met his wife at the road. Well, is she selling drugs? She asked excitedly. No, she's not. He said, enjoying this probably more than he should have. Well, what is it, then? His wife fairly shrieked. The man grinned and said, her name is Sheena, but she prefers to be called Shee, and she's selling batteries. Batteries? Cried the wife. Yes, he replied. She sells seashells by the seashore. An elderly man living alone in Sussex wanted to plant his annual tomato garden, but it was very difficult work, since the ground was hard. His only son, Paul, who used to help him, was in prison. The old man wrote a letter to his son and lamented his predicament. Dear Paul, I am feeling pretty sad, because it looks like I won't be able to plant my tomato garden this year. I'm just getting too old to be digging up a garden plot. I know if you were here my troubles would be over. I know you would be happy to dig the plot for me, like in the old days. Love, Dad. A few days later he received a letter from his son. Dear Dad, don't dig up that garden. That's where the bodies are buried. Love, Paul. At 4 a.m. the next morning, city officers and local police arrived and dug up the entire area without finding any bodies. They apologized to the old man and left. That same day the old man received another letter from his son. Dear Dad, go ahead and plant the tomatoes now. That's the best I could do under the circumstances. A woman joins a country club and when she hears the guys talking about their golf round, she says, I played on my college's golf team. I was pretty good. Mind if I join you next week? No one wants to say yes, but they're on the spot. Finally, one man says, okay, but we start at 6:30 a.m. He figures the early tea time will discourage her. The woman says this may be a problem and asks if she can be up to 15 minutes late. They roll their eyes, but say, okay. She's there at 6:30 a.m. sharp and beats all of them with an eye-opening 2 under par round. She's fun and pleasant and the guys are impressed. They congratulate her and invite her back the next week. She smiles, and says, I'll be there at 6:30, or 6:45. The next week she again shows up at 6:30 sharp. Only this time, she plays left-handed. The three guys are incredulous as she still beats them with an even par round, despite playing with her offhand. They're totally amazed. They can't figure her out. She's very pleasant and a gracious winner. They invite her back again, but each man harbors a burning desire to beat her. The third week, she's 15 minutes late, which irritates the guys. This week she plays right-handed and narrowly beats all three of them. The men grumble that her late arrival is petty gamesmanship on her part. However, she's so charming and complimentary of their strong play, they can't hold a grudge. This woman is a riddle no one can figure out. They have a couple of beers in the clubhouse and finally, one of the men asks her, how do you decide if you're going to golf right-handed or left-handed? The lady blushes, and grins. When my dad taught me to play golf, I learned that I was ambidextrous. She replies, I like to switch back and forth. When I got married after college, I discovered my husband always sleeps in the nude. From then on, I developed a silly habit. Right before I leave in the morning for golf practice, I pull the covers off him. If his willy points to the right, I golf right-handed. If it points to the left, I golf left-handed. The guys think this is hysterical. Astonished at this bizarre information, one of the guys says, what if it's pointing straight up? She says, then, I'm 15 minutes late. I told my wife I was making a bicycle out of spaghetti. She didn't believe me. Until I wrote pasta. Please smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel.